What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to Friday Nights Live with Rocky Harris. In the daytime, we moved from the nighttime to the daytime just for today because we have two amazing guests. The first one is Zaria Simone, who plays Perri in the Oscar-nominated short film Two Distant Strangers, and we also are speaking to the writer and co-director of the film, Travon. We're gonna wait until they pop in, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know that there's a very busy verdict that we're all waiting on, but for the time being, we're gonna have things a little bit alive, while we wait, and we're gonna wait until Travon. I see Travon. Awesome. And then we're gonna wait on Zaria. What's up? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm just fine. I know. I mean, obviously, right now you're okay, but we're all kind of okay.
Yeah.
So in the time being, though, we are waiting on Zaria to hop on in, and then we'll start, our interview, and I'll get you guys in and out. I know you guys are super busy.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I think Zaria can actually stick around longer than me. I actually have a notes call at 1:15, but I'm gonna try to stick around till like 1:20.
I trust
Because
I got you. Also,
yeah,
Aries, by the way, I know that you're a fellow Aries, so I want to
yeah.
shout you. I love that tidbit in the movie as well that you included.
You know,
But
it's funny. Originally it was my birthday that Joey says, and his daughter's birthday is March 29th, and so he asked me to change it to his daughter's birthday, which was like, yeah, totally fine. And then what's even funnier is, and by the way, I knew none of this going forward. Andrew's original birthday, he said, was November 9th. And it turns out Martin, my co-director's birthday, is November 8th. So we changed it to his birthday. So everybody got their birthday wish but me, but it's all good.
no, I love that. Someone very close to me is March 29th, so I love that. I'm gonna pop in Zaria. I know it takes a little bit of time for this thing to kind of keep
Yeah.
going. What's
Hi! I
up?
made it.
No, y'all the stars. I'll wait for however long.
Oh, sorry. I always have trouble like trying to do the send the request button.
Mhm. No, you're all good. So thank you guys so much for joining me for Friday Nights Live with Rocky Harris. Again, we're waiting on this verdict. I know it's stressing us all out, but overall, how are you guys doing right now? Especially you're Oscar nominated, baby. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm doing as well as I can be. You know, it's really hard to juggle the emotions of being recognized for your craft, but while dealing with a story that involves something that's so of the moment, so right now. And so there's a bittersweetness to it to be in that position for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's an added level of, maybe weight that you feel even talking about the movie now. I mean, unfortunately, it keeps becoming even more relevant, and that's unfortunate, and so I guess it's the loop.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for those who don't know, Two Distant Strangers is on Netflix right now. You can watch it. It tells the story of a black man who keeps waking up from this nightmare where he's killed by a police officer. As you know, or as you've said in interviews, this was something that you kind of wanted to emulate from your own experiences as a black person, having to go through the trauma over and over and over again. I want to know what exactly, obviously, it was George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, but when did the writing process actually start for you?
You know, actually started, funny enough, I started writing this script. It'll be 9 months to the day on the day of the Oscars.
Mm.
And you know, like it's been so many serendipity things like that that have lined up this experience. You know, the Oscars is also Gari's birthday. Uh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you know, I started writing this last July, and you know, I wrote it in 5 days, and it was a very quick scripting experience. And we shot almost everything on the page that I wrote. We ended up
Mm.
anything that I wrote just got cut for time and for the feel of the film. But it was a fast process. We shot it in 5 days in September. August and the first 2 weeks of September was really just kind of like money raising and prep and getting everything, lined up to basically like get the film out as fast as we could. And yeah, it's been just a series of miracles that got us here.
Absolutely. And then Zaria, how was it for you being along with him? Some people may not know that you guys are significant to one another. What is it like watching him in his writing process? And did you get to kind of give him any thoughts that you have for yourself, especially being the only prominent Black woman in the film?
Yes, I have a way about me where I always like to give my thoughts. Travon was writing this movie, and I found my outlet with my book, We Got a Lot to Be Mad About. So I write poetry, and my way to express myself during that time was writing. And I could see that in him as well, that was his way of just mourning the continuous loss of life that we have to experience. So it was magnificent, really. The entire process really felt like something that we were meant to be doing, whether it was like signs that we would get that, someone was humming the Groundhog's Day play song. It was just like things that like you never even expect. Like people that don't even believe in signs were like, what? Yeah.
And how did he approach you about playing Perri?
That's actually a funny story. So I was really grateful to be able to read the script, just partner to partner, and I read it, I loved it, and I just had it in my back pocket at every turn, and I was going to know the lines and study Perri and know Perri, and I was like, if they need an understudy, I will be the understudy. And he was actually on the phone with my manager, and I just happened to hear him talking, and he said that I had the role. And after he hung up, I was like, what? And he was like, well, you've been walking around with the script.
No, what would you say, Travon, that this was somewhat of a therapeutic experience for you writing this? I mean, oftentimes, and something that made me think about this in your interviews as well was Black people throughout history, we've had to find some ways to cope, whether it was singing, creating dances, things that we've had to do as a people to move forward. And releasing that art in some way, no matter how many, traumatic things that we're going through, it helps. So would you say that this is a moment for you that was therapeutic?
Yeah, it was challenging in ways, and it was therapeutic in ways, and it was also for me what got me through the difficult parts of filming and recreating and writing was that for me this was always a gift to us, to our community. It was me saying, I see you and I see what you're going through, and no matter what they tell you about that experience, I know what you're really going through, what I'm really going through, what we're really going through. And this is a direct, refusal of the gaslighting we get from society when they tell us that the police don't kill more of us, that we're crazy, and that we're just not behaving properly, and all those things. So, I noticed there was a breakdown in, where we could have a conversation with words. And we all know the power of cinema, television. And so I wanted to take, my time and my energy to create something that, you are in the face conversation with someone. And oftentimes you can find yourself talking to a quote unquote friend or ally who doesn't get some aspect of your experience. And this movie is a way to go, let me play you something. Why don't you just watch it? Let me send you a link. Like, let me direct your attention to this experience. And when you get to those names at the end of the movie, after you watched and felt everything this movie has given you, now come back to the experience. Come back to me about what you think, going through, or what I might not understand, or what you might understand, because it's allowing people to feel for 29 minutes what we go through for 24 hours.
Absolutely.
And it is a dedication and representation of our hope and resilience as Black people, the determination with which we approach every single day of our lives, the energy we have to pour into just surviving, even beyond all the other things we want to do with our life. And so that's really what it boils down to me.
Absolutely. And to you guys both, sometimes I think to myself, how many more of these films and TV shows do we need for people to get it? You know, like, do you guys both, do you feel that we're getting there, or do you think people have kind of already made up their minds? Like, I feel like in 2021, because we've had so much of art that emulate this experience, which is totally fine, and I'll talk to you about that conversation as well, about the balance that Black creatives have when it comes to catering to our people, but at the same time, it can be hurtful to us as well. But do you feel like the people who feel the way that they feel, they've already made up their minds, and the
Yeah.
people who can help, we just kind of have to focus on them?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a question of hope, right? So I think it's a question of, can we change minds anymore? And I think what Travon touched on, which is a beautiful thing that felt like it freed me this past year, is it's not my job to teach you. It's my job to live and survive and to advocate, but it's not my job to teach you. It's your job to learn. And I think that Two Distant Strangers does a great job at being that resource to the people that are tired and don't want to waste any breath on it anymore, and don't want to have to plead for you to try to understand that something that is absolutely blatantly wrong is wrong. And so I struggle with this idea that there should ever be a cap on Black artistic freedom in general. I think that, you know, we are just getting a shot at the pen. We're just getting a shot at the mic. And I think to try to limit that or constrict that, or to say, Black man, you're not allowed to share your pain in this way, I think that hurts us way more than it could ever help us.
I totally agree. And if you have no head, Trayvon.
You know, I recognize that this film from the beginning was going to represent different things, different audiences. But one thing we can't discount, sometimes often too quick to discount, is the effect that this film has on the people whose minds we're trying to change. And I'll give you an example of that, which is, you know, there was a friend of mine, a white friend, who watched this film with her father, who's 8 and lives in the South and is of those opinions. They disagree a lot, and they've had arguments and fights about the particular thing, disagreeing on race and politics and all those things. She watched the film with her dad, and after watching the film, he said for the first time he ever acknowledged systemic racism, 80 years. And she said that he finally, for the first time in her life, she's 40, for the first time in her life, he opened up to her about feelings about race from when he grew up, feelings about George Floyd, who he said broke his heart when he saw the video, things he'd never told her. He could have told her in any other circumstance, but because of the contention between them, never surfaced until they sat down and watched this movie together. And now, you know, she was so overwhelmed by the fact that a short film broke her father open after 80 years, enough for actually talk to her about race, to talk to her about or acknowledging the reality of, you know, Black people in this country. 80 years. This man still votes. This man still has an effect on what happens in the state and city that he lives in. And that was an indication of where we sometimes forget that films can serve multiple purposes. And if this movie turned 5 white people who didn't see our humanity, who didn't understand our pain, who would never do anything that would help, all of a sudden shifted their perspective, how could that not be a win?
And it's a drop in the ocean, right? So it's like those, let's say, 5 people have now become our allies, have now become our advocates, and that multiplies the amount of not the amount of explain, or it multiplies the amount of explaining we don't have to do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
and they get to talk to their friends who don't agree with about what happened and what transformed or opened their eyes even a little bit. And it's like all those things are important. We're all out here fighting this fight in every way that we can with our own. My tools are television, film, and writing. Your tools might be activism or writing or hosting. Somebody else's tools might be legislation. Somebody else's tools might be teaching. But we have to use the things that we have in order to get ourselves where we want to go if our goal is to be active in that.
Absolutely. I want to move to the conversation between Carter and Perri, where he thinks that she doesn't know who Derek Jeter is, which is, for me, when I seen, off first glance, I was like, okay, this is what guys do. Guys mansplain, they don't understand things, but on a deeper level, it made me think about how women, in particular Black women, are underestimated, undervalued. They're just not seen on the same playing level as men. And oftentimes we have to address that Black men are a part of the oppression that go through. So Zaria, speak to that scene and what it meant for Perri to be the only Black woman, what the Black woman means to the relationship and experience of Black.
Yeah, absolutely. Travon, I know you have to bolt for another meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And I want time to give you a longer conversation.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it. Whatever time you have. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Girl talk that. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. No,
yes.
I have a great question, girl talk, for later. But yes, go ahead.
Great. Yes, I think, well, it's obvious. Black woman to Black woman, we know we get underestimated. That is absolutely, the society that we live in. And I think that is such an interesting question, because that conversation was so natural to me in the moment, in the movie, and filming it, probably because of the amount of times where I'm like, duh, I know this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that as Black women, we tend to be put in a corner or cast as a certain type, or as, oh, you might not know this, or you might not be interested in that. And I think that being in Perri's shoes, she's a fashion designer. She's a Black fashion designer. We know how hard it is in the fashion industry for Black women. And I think that is precisely what Travon was showing in that moment. Was, like, she's smart, and she's not the damsel in distress. He's the damsel in distress. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she's there, and she's supporting him, but she's not going to spoon feed him. And if you don't want this gun that I don't know, if you can't talk to him, that's obviously my first choice. I don't know what you want from me. And so, yeah, I think that it's an obvious hurdle that we have to get over, because we're not only women in this society and how women get looked at in this society, but we are also Black women. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, so second to last question, what is it that you want to take from this, all the other art, which to me, I think Two Distant Strangers is genius. I've never seen anything like it. Like, it's such, in 30 minutes, you really, you get the understanding of the story and the meaning behind it. And I think it's just so well done. You guys did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So what do you want to take away from it?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What do I want you to take away from it?
From
the audience?
Yes.
Perfect. I think that obviously my chief concern is that you understand and empathize with Carter's perspective and the perspective of the Black experience and the omnipotent presence of it all, right? But I think something that might easily be overlooked is this movie was built by people during a pandemic who were mostly out of jobs because it was the beginning of it, dealing with the stress and the strain and the pain of watching George Floyd be killed in the middle of the street. And it was really built by a group of people that just wanted to do something with what they had. It almost felt like if everyone came in with a tool and said, how can I use this to help? And I think that is one of the most magnificent lessons that this movie has taught me, because you know, it's one thing to be an ally and to say that you're an ally and to say that you advocate, but to actually do something, to work together, to be there, to put your hand in, it just shows me how truly powerful we could all be if we just put our differences aside and started looking at our similarities.
Absolutely. I totally
Yeah.
agree. So are you from LA?
I'm from a little bit of everywhere. So I was born here. I lived here till I was about 8. And then my mom got married and love convinced her that snow was a good idea. I decided against that and then moved back here. So I've moved around quite a bit. My dad's always lived in Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, because so I have a segment called Random Questions, Rocky. And
Okay.
so I just have 2.
Okay.
Favorite LA staple that you swear by and that not many people know about?
My mom's cooking. I don't.
Okay.
She calls it Margot's, so I have to swear by her. She can throw down a mean anything. She can like taste food. She's like one of those people that tastes a meal and then just like is like, oh, I know how to make this, and I'm like, okay.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I wish I possessed that talent. In the film, Perri jokingly says, text first before calling. So, girl to girl, is it okay? Should someone who is looking to talk to you or is interested in you more, should they text first before calling? What's the rules around that?
I am a call girl, but not a call girl.
Right.
I'm a girl that likes to be called instead of texted. I just feel like it's fast, it's efficient. I can know what you want. It's so easy. So I'm big on just picking up the phone. Travon, actually, on the other hand, loves a good text. So that sprung from his soul.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, again, everybody, Two Distant Strangers is out on Netflix right now. Please go blow them up. Give them all the love and support. Follow Zaria. I love your @ name, by the way. Zaria.
Thank you.
That's why didn't I think of that? Like,
I was like, what should my name be? Oh, Zaria's taken. Okay, Zaria. I don't know. It made sense to me at the time.
no, I love that. That's one. It's like repetitive, so you remember it. And
Right.
I just think that, again, very, very smart move, regardless if you couldn't think of another name. But follow Zaria. Follow Travon, which another great @ name. I'm like, how did you just get Travon?
I know.
So, but Two Distant Strangers, Zaria Simone, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great day with whatever happens. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much, and thank you for this. This is such a beautiful talk.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a great day.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for joining me for Friday Nights Live with Rocky Harris. I truly appreciate it for everyone who tuned in and is still watching right now. Again, please pray, find peace, find happiness, whatever it is that you're doing right now. I know we're about to learn, you know, what will happen or what we'll be feeling for the rest of the day. So please be safe. Be at peace. Find God, pray, do what you can do to stay calm and stay relieved. Okay. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you later.